just came out, you know, official release, actual cards. We ended up getting probably about a case's worth of cards, and we had a local event, a release event. It was a Saturday and a Sunday last weekend. I played purple. Buddy Wayne, he couldn't make it, but I ended up playing purple both days. I ended up topping, and I won the whole event both days. In total, it was 6-0. Complete sweep. I didn't lose at all. I didn't lose any matches or games. Whatever the important one is, I didn't lose. Obviously, I went 6-0. I did lose one individual game. There was one game that I went 2-1. I played really stupid. But anyway, good for him. He played some red deck, and it hit me for like 4 security checks on one turn. But yeah, anyway. So I went 2-0 on that game. Other than that, I went completely undefeated. 100%. So I was 6-0 for the day. Here's the deck profile I played. Some people were asking about it. I played purple. I decided not to play blue Omni. I'm not a big fan of blue Omni. It's a more aggro deck than I like. I like to feel a little bit more in control. Some people have called decks like this purple kill your stuff, purple kill everything. It sounds about right. It does pretty much that. So here we go. Let's kick it off. All right, so first we got our 4 Impmon. Level 3s, we are currently playing 15, I think? 16. 16 in total level 3s. I played at 14. I didn't like it. I played at 17 and 18. I also didn't like it. I think if you're going to play purple, you either play 13 with like some more mid-range top-end stuff, or you play something like 15, 16, and you're just going to have more lower to the ground stuff. I personally like the number 16. I like hitting my level 3s consistently. For Impmon, super important card. Probably the most important level 3. You want to see it every game, probably more than once. Not my favorite level 3. My favorite level 3 would be Sukamon. But yeah, we'll get to that later. He evolves into Beezlemon. He gives that shortcut. Then we have 4 Gabumon. I opted to play 4 of this Gabumon and not 4 of the Tapirmon. Because yes, this destroyed get draw 1 effect is great, but I do find myself not always, but generally evolving into level 4s pretty often, and the draw 2 trash one I just found was much more consistent than just drawing 1 off this being destroyed. Next, obviously, we have Tapirmon. I played 3 of him. I had 4, but I dropped it down to 3 just to make space for Digimon. You could play 2 of this Digimon. The 2 costs are kind of important for level 3s, probably from pretty much any deck. If I didn't have Grizzly Wing, I'd probably play more. But like when I think of Digimon and I think of Grizzly Wing, I just think of the same thing, a level 3 that costs 2. So you could probably bump it up to 2. I like to have some more middle range stuff. After that, we have 4 Psychemon. Like I said, this is my favorite one, Purple Patamon. Favorite level 3. I love that they came out with it. I love that they released it in set 1 for English. I just love it. It helps mitigate that unfair advantage that blue gets when it plays like Hammer Spark. Then it plays like Leomon to gain memory. It plays the Gomamon that gains memory. Like, it plays all these cards that gain it memory, and you're just like, what the hell? What can I do? It helps mitigate that like a lot. It feels really good against Blue Omni just for that reason. Like, they're like, oh, destroy this, draw 1. I'm like, that's fine. Destroy this, or not draw 1, sorry, destroy this, gain 1 memory. That's fine. Same thing. Destroy this, gain 1 memory. So it's really nice, especially because you can trigger it pretty often because you kill your own stuff with like Heat Viper and Chimeramon. And you run into stuff a lot with Devimon. We'll get to that. Like I said, then I play the 1 Devimon. It's just a good 2 cost level 3. That's it. It's just cheap and it's good. Probably should start out with my eggs. Eggs are pretty basic. Some people like to play more than 1 Yaman. Some people like to play more than 1 of him. I don't. I don't think it's that great. Purple's already pretty weak in power, so yes, I could see the argument for giving it 1,000 more DP to make it a little bit stronger, but you're already running into stuff with Vengeance. You don't really care if it's stronger. You're already killing everything. some of your stuff you want to die anyway. So it's probably better just to fill your graveyard almost 90% of the time. Unless your graveyard's already full, then you'd rather see Yamon. But generally, I guess I could play a 3-2 split. Generally, Pagumon is just better to set up your self-mill strategy and fuel your graveyard to fuel your deck. Let's go to level 4s. We got our 4 blockers. Staple, essential, every deck, have to play them. You got your 4 Devimons. Devimon's great. He's probably, next to Millenniumon, he's your best answer to something like Omnimon for purple. Because Omnimon's, he's always tapped. So, pretty much always tapped. So, he gets by Trump Sword. He's a 15k, so he gets by all the power in your deck. You can't overpower him. So, and usually when he comes down, he's getting rid of like your level 6 or something anyway. So you can't answer with a Millenniumon. So if you can't answer with Millenniumon to him, which you probably can't, your best answer usually, from what I've found, is Devimon. So typically, if I know my opponent's holding on to an Omnimon, I'll sit with a level 3 in my raising area. I'll wait for them to Omnimon and like it's tapped because they swung in with like their Plessia or whatever beforehand. And then I'll evolve into my Devimon for 2. And then I'll swing into the Omnimon and trade because it has Vengeance or Retaliation for the English set. This card's great. It's my favorite level 4. It's one of my favorite cards in the deck. This stacked on top of the Sukamon, I love it. I run into stuff all the time. I trade and then I gain a memory. I mean, that's awesome. I don't know what more you could ask for. I play 1 Wizardmon. I really wish I could play 2. I used to play 2. I cut one of them for space for something. I don't remember what. I think I cut space for another mat, I think. I only play 1. You don't need 2. You only need 1. You can play 2 for the consistency. I actually find the best time to play him is not even to evolve. It's really just to hard play him for 4. Because if you're at 3 with Matt, you hard play him for 4, you put your opponent to 1. You got another body on board that draws when it dies. It's just a better Tapirmon. That's it. And it's level 4. His best time that you have him is if he's on top of Gabumon and then they die, because then you draw 3, discard 1. That's pretty good. Alright, level 5s. I only play 5 level 5s. I'll explain why in a second. So I play 4 Chimeramon. Purple probably wouldn't be a deck without Chimeramon. Actually, I've seen people say that they can't play purple in real life at those events because they didn't have Chimeramon. It's fair. He's pretty good. He's actually much better than pretty good. He turns the tides a lot. Not only do you get rid of something that's your opponent, but it's a level 5. Like, you kill one of your opponent's level 5s, and then you're left with a level 5. So then if they don't answer it, you can typically evolve into a level 6. And it just, if your opponent can't answer a Chimeramon, either directly or just like indirectly by setting up their own strategy again, you definitely start snowballing really fast with Chimeramon. I only play 1 copy of Myotismon, so that's my 5th level 5. I actually didn't used to play this. I threw him in because I actually started playing Lilthman. And so I want another target to evolve over, so I wanted 1 more level 5. It's a vanilla. It's good. It costs 2. It's really just in there because it's a vanilla level 5. That's cheap to evolve into. It does its job. Comes in handy. The 7,000 power is nothing to, get horny about, whatever. It doesn't really do much. But, yeah, so the reason I only play 5 level 5s is because of Impmon. So my main, we'll say main level 6, because I have the most of him, is Beezlemon. You don't evolve Piedmon, typically. You can, but you don't really want to, for the most part, unless you need the power and the vengeance. So I kind of, when I build decks, I don't look at things like that. I look at them like for my total overall deck, but like level 6s, how many level 5s do I need to make my level 6s work? Okay, well, I only have 4 that evolve, right? So I don't really need that many. 5, when I look at these 5, I really think of Lilithmon, because when I think of Beezlemon, you not only have these 5, but you also have 4 more Impmons that you can pretty much always evolve over. So Beezlemon himself, pretty much, not like 100%, but pretty much, he himself has 9 level 5s that he can evolve over, which is actually why I play him, more copies of him than a lot of people do now. A lot of people like to play more Piedmon or more Lilithmon now, which is fine. I like Beezlemon just because it lets me add more stuff into my deck by taking out the level 5s. Like, I don't have to play 8 level 5s to evolve into Lilithmon consistently, because I just can play Impmon and Grizzlywing, which just makes the deck a little bit faster and more aggro-y for me. So going on to level 6s, we have the 2 Piedmons. Really great. I hate having any more than 2. I can't do it. It's too clunky. I can't do it. I used to play 3 and I used to play 4. Every time you have more than 1 Piedmon in your hand, half the time or 75% of the time, it just feels really, really clunky. Like, you're just like, ugh, I have to play these. Now, there are times when you have 2 in your hand, you play 1, it adds so much pressure to your opponent's board, they can't do anything. Then you play another one, and it's just like, game over. That's fair. That has happened. Not very often, I feel like, against good players. Not very often, I don't think. You also need the stuff in the grave. That's a different point. I think they get clunky. I don't think you need to give your opponent that much memory that often. But he's super clutch. So I definitely think 2 is a good number for me. Beezlemon, I used to play 4. I still think you could play 4. I wouldn't say it got clunky. I just ran into the problem of, like, I had too much to do with my level 6s in my top end. Like, I saw him so much that it was like, I feel like I have to go into him, and I didn't have to go into him at that time. So I think 3 is the right number for him, especially because you're going to be milling, and then you can pull one back with a mat and stuff anyway. So I think 3 is the right number. You could definitely play 4. If you're going to play 4 of him, I think you play like a 4-2 split or something. Like, you don't need to play all 3 of these level 6s. So, alright, moving on to Lilithmon. I like Lilithmon so much. Like, so much. And look at her. Like, come on. Look at her. Look at that chair she's in. That's my point. Look at the chair. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Lilithmon's great. Her alt art, even better. She adds so much tempo to purple. If you get her on board and she sticks for just one turn. Just one turn. Like, she adds so much tempo for purple that it just starts snowballing again and overwhelming your opponent. They just can't come back. I'm going to bump her up to 2. I just don't know what to take out. So, this is what I played. I want to bump her up to 2. I will this week at some point. I'm testing out yellow right now. I know yellow's bad, but I'm trying to make it work. It's okay. She's really good. I want to play more than one of her. If you guys can find the space, I would play 2 of her. She's really, really good. I'm never unhappy when I see her. Mostly because, the chair. The chair. Okay, so then we have our 1 savior card, our 1 tech card of Magnadramon. I used to play this and Puppetmon. I actually took Puppetmon out, I think, for Lilithmon, I believe. No, I took Puppetmon out for the Wizardmon or something. I don't know, whatever. I like Magnadramon a lot. He's there when you need him, and just at 1 copy, he's typically not in the way when, like, you don't need him. You're never sad to ever really see him in your hand, because at some point in the game, when you need him, you need him. So, you could probably play 1 of this. You play 2 of this if you wanted to. You could. And you could play 1 of this and 1 of Puppetmon. That's all up to you. I like this. Purple has a really good, like, ability just to come back into a game. And he only costs 11, so, like, purple is really good at your opponent does something huge, like Omnimons you and swings you to, like, 5 or 6. That allows you, like, Digivolve into Devimon for 2, swing into something, trade with it. So now you're doing some form of removal, and then you can go into Magnadramon and then recover 2. Or there's plenty of plays, like you go Beezlemon for 4, and then you go into Magnadramon. Which, sure, it sends them all the way to 10, but now you have 2 level 6s on board, you killed something of theirs, and you recovered 2. It's good. It's good when you need it. Don't play it if you don't need it. Depends on your meta also, I suppose. Next, for our level 7s, our top end, we play 3 Millenniumon. This could go to 2. I'm always like on the fence about this. I keep telling myself, put it to 2, Levi, put it to 2. You can do it. You always tell people, put it to 2. But then, like, I really want to see it. Like, I don't want to not see Millenniumon. So I play 3. I will probably test it at 2. It's a really busy week for me and my playgroup. I'm going to test it at 2. Like I said, it's just such a good answer for Omnimon that I really want to see it. So I play 3. I used to play 4. Too much. Don't play 4. You can play 2, you can play 3. You can even play 1. Just 1, you're not going to see it very often. Great card, though. The fact that it recurs itself, busted. Let's go to Matt. So I play 3 Matt. Ever since I started playing purple, I've played 4 Matt, I've played 3 Matt, I've played 2 Matt, 1 Matt, and 0 Matt. I've played every quantity of Matt you could think of. I like 2 and 3. 2 is if I know I'm not going to see it all the time. 3, I see it pretty consistently. Probably like 75% of my games. Actually, that math adds up, right? 3 out of 4 games. Anyway, that's math. Stay in school. COVID. Anyway, Matt is he returned something, which is great. But just going to 3 memory, I found with this deck is really, really what you need. For multiple reasons. I can go over them like right now. So, say you need a blocker on board. Okay, play level 3 for 3. Go into a blocker. End your turn. You have a blocker. You put them to 2. Okay. Say you want to play Chimeramon and remove their level 5. Okay, drop a level 3. Then you play Chimeramon. Going to 3 is just so important. Like, evolve into Lilthman. It's still your turn. Get back your options. Play one of your options, hopefully like Grizzly Wing, for free. And then you can play another option. Or then you can do something else. Like, going to 3 in this deck is... Go to 3, you Beezlemon for 4, you put your opponent to 1. Like, it's just so good. Going to 3 in this deck, I feel like, is super good. I don't feel like all decks need the go to 3 tamers. Blue Omni doesn't need it. Like, even in Red Omni, like, I think you only play like 1 or 2. Like, I don't really think you need 3. Just a lot of decks don't really need it. Like, it kind of slows you down. Even in Yellow, you don't really want to play the TK. Like, you want him to be hit off security. You don't really want to play him. You do. I mean, you can play him if you want. But you want him to be hit off security, really. That's, like, the best part about him. Matt, you can even play him because you're going to recur something. And it's always something good. TK is also one of the better tamers. Most of the other ones kind of suck. Relative. Alright, last thing is the options. So, we play 3 Grizzly Wing. I used to play 4. You can play 4. It's gonna get cloggy. If you play 4 Grizzly Wing, I would recommend playing 17 or more. 16, 17, not even 16. I would recommend like 17 or 18. At least level 3s. I played 4. It got super clunky. Like, I opened so many hands with literally level 6 Omnimon, 2 Grizzly Wing, and then like something else. Like, there was one game where I literally just opened it. I went first and I had an unplayable hand. I could not do anything. I played Grizzly Wing for 2 to put my opponent to 2 instead of 3. That was it. Don't play 4 Grizzly Wing if you're not playing 17 or more level 3s. It's gonna get cloggy. 3's a great number. Trump Sword. Don't play 4 Trump Sword. It's gonna get cloggy. It's a great card. But it does not hit things that are tapped, that are suspended. Which a lot of big threats are gonna be suspended. Omnimon, when he evolves, most of the time, he is suspended. So he's not an answer to that. Millenniummon, you're probably going to swing in with your level 6 before you evolve. Like, a lot of the big threats are going to be tapped a lot of the time. That's why I don't play 4. If it was Terraforce, I'd play 4. But it's not. So I play 3. Because it's probably the next best. Not probably. It is the next best removal option, I think, in the game. And then lastly, I play 1 Heat Viper. I had 4 Trump Sword. I took out 1 for Heat Viper. Don't play 2 Heat Viper. Don't do what I did. You could do it. if you want. You're probably going to have better luck than me. I have bad luck. It got cloggy. It got cloggy at 2, which I don't think is bad. I don't think that's wrong, because even at 1, I find myself holding on to this like a lot. Like there's times where I'll open the game with this card and I won't play it until like the second to last turn before the game ends. Only because like playing it and killing one of your Digimon to kill one of your opponent's level 4 Digimon, it just feels bad. Like I'd rather just play Chimeramon and then actually have Chimeramon's literally a better version of this. It costs 2 more, but you get a 7k level 5 on board, and it hits a level 5 instead of just level 4. So if you're gonna use it for just 1, make sure it's worth it. Like, if you're going for game or something, sure, then, like, do it. You have the memory for it, do it, of course. But it's just, it's not great when you're only using it on one of your opponent's Digimon. Now, when you kill 2 with it, it just feels great. Like, it feels like the best thing in the world. It feels like I just met Lilthman in real life. Like, if I just, met her. Okay. So, that's my take on Heat Viper. It's really good, though. If you're in a format or in a meta right now where like all your locals are playing a bunch of rookie rush decks, then you could play 2. You could probably play 3 and just like start curb stomping. It's gonna piss people off. It's pretty good when it's good. It's bad when it's bad. So there we have it. That is my purple deck that I went 6-0 with. It was a pretty easy run. I didn't really run into too much that was too troubling. Purple has a lot of answers to just a lot of stuff. I think its worst matchup is obviously Blue Omni, and that's just because it's Blue Omni. It has nothing to do with the matchup. It's just Blue Omni's a good deck. I think this deck is Blue Omni's worst matchup, to be honest. Either this or Rookie Rush. Blue Omni can't respond to pressure very well. This deck's great. It has answers to everything, or anything that you want it to. The only problem this deck could possibly have is sometimes it has too many answers. It's like when you go first, sometimes you'll open your hand with like Heat Viper, Trump Sword, and then a Beezlemon and a Millenniumon, and then like Chimeramon. Like that's not impossible to open your hand like that. And like all those cards are answers to something, and like you don't have anything to answer when you go first, or you don't have anything to answer when you're just steamrolling your opponent. Which is why I play like a good amount of level 3s, because when you don't want to play an answer, you just play some level 3s, or you play a Wizardmon or whatever. So that's the deck. It works really good. Try it out if you guys want to play purple. All right, that was it. I'm over and out and out. I'm done. See you guys later.